So what do you want to say in reference to just kind of coaching your clients up on that?
Well, a couple of things I want to say about these two in particular is, number one, Carrie spoke about how sometimes we're talking about the same things. Well, Carrie, guess what? Sometimes Carlette and I are talking about the same things too.
Yes.
And that's just the beauty of it, right? Because we have these skills, and Laura, you said it, you've got to practice. And we're not going to master this, because it's just like in sports. I mean, if this were true, Tiger Woods, not to be so cliche, but he would never hire a coach. All of these great athletes would not hire coaches to keep growing and keep getting better if they felt like they had already achieved it all. And so, this is the game of life. And while you might be the expert in your life, we're still learning how to use these tools, whether, and Carlette oftentimes uses that reference of it's the same sport. Basketball is the same sport year after year after year, but we continue to grow in it. So if you started when you were a little guy and you continue to advance in the sport, it's still the same rules. It's still the same thing. We just continue to train to get better and better. And Laura, one of the things I love is, one of our first workouts introducing the stat tool, the 10s that she's talking about. She was just so committed. She's like, I'm doing it every day. And this 10 tool is amazing. I don't know if you remember that conversation, Laura, but I was so giddy because we often talk about how I can change your life in 15 minutes just by introducing that particular tool and that stat tool. And it gets, repeated to me over and over again, like, oh my gosh, that was unbelievable. But to watch you transform literally within a day or two of practicing this and the takeaways, that's what I think is really important, is like how you really started to be aware of how you were living your life and where the stats were low. And it was like, woo, this is an opportunity. And so the other thing too, and I want you guys to speak about this, but this is absolutely a new way of thinking. This is a new way of thinking because I know for a fact performance barriers. We're afraid to admit them. We're afraid to talk about them. We're afraid of the judgment or the shame or the story around it. And Carlette, I think what you have done that's really changed my life is just own them. Like, just claim it, own it, and let's work with it. And I think that's something that we really can experience by watching sports, because they have wins and losses constantly, but they keep going. So they're watching that film. They make mistakes. They cost themselves games. They cost penalties. They have performance barriers. But it's a matter of like, okay, I'm not going to berate myself over it. It doesn't do me any good. What do I learn from it? And how do I keep moving forward? And I think there's so much to learn from watching sports and the way athletes continue to strive for better and better, and they fail miserably sometimes and they succeed, but they just keep going.
Well, and I think too, it's a mindset change too, which is, I know mindset's a kind of a hot word right now, but it really, just even in that 10 tool, like I said before, I honestly had no idea what a 10 life meant. Like I thought it was a joke. I was like, and then once I started to practice that and apply it to my shoes, to my workout leggings, to all of it, I had my coffee creamer, it just became such
every detail, right?
Every detail.
Power of details. Yes.
Yeah, that it was, it became a mindset thing. And I can easily fall back into old mindset thinking, but then I'll catch myself and just ask myself, well, is this a 10? No. Well, how could I make it better? And that was such a powerful tool for me, because there are so many things in our day-to-day life that, it's just not going to be a 10. Maybe it's, having to write up a report or something. Okay, well, how can I make it a 10? Okay, I'm going to make this tea, or I'm going to put this music on, or, and those were the little shifts I started to make that started to make a difference in my day. And then it just started to really spiral forward, where then it clicked. I was like, okay, I get why Carrie had that on her refrigerator. I think I get the 10 thing. Yeah. So it's just exciting.
Can we just do a little victory dance that, we've got?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do some victory dance, because this is what's so important, is celebrating life. I mean,
Mhm.
so many times we're caught and we think of coaching and training and it's got to be really hard. And, it's got to be secretive, or I don't want anybody to know, or I don't want to admit that I'm struggling, and we just want to say it's completely the opposite in terms of use that sports analogy of those athletes. I mean, we cheer for an athlete for showing up in the middle, woohoo, woohoo, you came to practice. All right, high fives for everybody. I mean, don't you wish when you got out of bed in the morning, there was a team, woohoo, good job, high fives, well done,
Yes, please.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
mean,
first breakfast.
oh, I tell you, and then an athlete makes a mistake, it's all over, like YouTube and commentators, and everybody's broadcasting it. And, they've just got to be like, what can I learn? How do I want to go forward with this?